Hello, my name is John Amari with Business in Japan TV. We're here today to welcome Lanis Yarzab, the Managing Director of Spring Professional. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, John.
Let's jump right into it. As Managing Director of one of the largest recruitment companies in Japan, what were some of the challenges in establishing the firm here?
To be honest, I don't want to say it wasn't difficult. It has been. It's been a challenge. But Spring Professional is a part of Adecco Group. And Adecco is the largest human resources organization in the world. And there was a little bit of a playbook. We're the third largest brand in the group. And so setting it up was a part of a strategic plan to rebrand and set up Spring offices across Asia. So Japan was the last of 9 offices to be set up. So we had a team of 22 people that pretty much had it well organized before I got there.
Excellent. And on the subject of recruitment, what are some of the main challenges of recruiting talent here in this Japanese market?
Well, I think everyone knows that it's a scarce market. It's candidate short. And so if you can identify the people that you want to hire, then the main challenges are usually processes within organizations. And in all honesty, my own organization, within Adecco Group, I've helped bring some people on board, and my own team I've brought on board. I think first, a company, and my organization included, we've got to define where the person is going to fit in and what problems they have to solve within an organization. So if you're bringing someone into a startup versus a well-established company, you need a different type of person. If you need someone to do a change management role, that's very different than someone who is coaching a young and a fresh team. So I think a lot of organizations have a hard time really defining what type of person they need. I think that's always the most important step. And then I think really you need to have 1 or 2 main decision makers. Processes get slowed down in Japan because you have stakeholders from global, from Asia, within Japan, and everyone tends to have slightly different agendas and priorities. So we usually recommend that you've got 1 person who makes the final decision. And then really just processes within an organization, keeping interviews and feedback within 1 or 2 weeks, and keeping things moving along. Because if we can identify the right person that you want to bring on board, honestly, the biggest problem is just getting them to that final stage in a timely fashion.
What more can be done to increase the level of diversity? That is the thriving and participation of women and other minority groups in this field?
Sure. Well, everyone who knows me knows that I'm all about diversity and inclusion. I'm kind of an evangelist in our industry, and especially within my group. And we do technical recruitment in IT, manufacturing, and as well property and construction. And these are definitely, as you mentioned, areas which lack women and minorities. So I would like to start, if we had forced disclosure of gender participation labor rates within companies. I think that would at least give us a starting point so we knew how companies were doing and how balanced their workforces were. A lot of companies want to hire women these days. They're trying to, but when I speak to clients, I say, nobody wants to be a trailblazer. You don't want to come in as a female manager when there's no infrastructure or nothing to support you in your role if you're the only one. So I would like to see investment into diversity and inclusion programs so that people and organizations can have the training and understand what they need to do before they start making changes. I think that would be a really great starting point. And as well, I'd like to see within companies that there were training programs for young women within the organization, and they had equal opportunities to move into technical roles and not into administrative roles from a young age. And then you're building a company where you've got female leaders. And that, of course, that might not solve the problem right now, but you'll have role models for the future. And I would definitely like to see compensation and benefit schemes which are gender neutral. There's still a big gap between male and female salaries, not just in Japan, but in general.
That's great. And on the subject of work-life balance, this is something else that came up during the Women in Business Summit of the ACCJ. How do you manage it? How do you balance work, family, friends, and other commitments in your life?
Actually, John, I'm really glad you asked that question because this is a topic that I have been discussing with a lot of friends recently, both male and female. And I've said to them, how do you manage? How do you manage the family and work? I'm a single mom. A lot of people know that about me. And a lot of people say, wow, you've got it together. Work is going great. You've got a great son. But some days I don't know how I get out of the house dressed in the morning. I think one of the biggest myths is that you can have a perfect work-life balance. But honestly, if you're spending a lot of time at work because work needs a little extra attention, then you're not at home with your family. And if you're meeting all of your commitments at work and your family is satisfied, you're probably sacrificing personal time, for your hobbies or going out with friends. And I don't think there is a way to balance everything all the time. So I'm always shifting priorities. But I don't want my staff or friends or people looking at me and saying, wow, that she's got perfect work-life balance, because it's a myth and nobody can live up to those expectations. We're all just trying to hold it together, where I like to say we're a work in progress.
Yes.
It's true. So I do my best.
And what are some of these hobbies that you mentioned?
My hobbies, what, nowadays, it's my son. I spend most of my time with my son. I go to the gym, of course, and I go out with friends, and I do a lot of baking with my kid as well. We do a lot of new recipes and stuff together. I hate to say I'm running out of hobbies, but between work and raising a child, there's not a lot of time for me time.
That's great. Lanis Yarzab, Managing Director of Spring Professional. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Thank you for watching Business in Japan TV.